be able to succeed anywhere, right? If you want to succeed, like in anything that you want to do, right? If you want to succeed, there are two ways. There are two ways to succeed, and it affects everything else. Like anything you want to succeed, whether it's in academics, it's work, business, wherever. There are two ways. The first one is what we call human efforts. Human efforts. And the second is what we call divine efforts. Human efforts, divine efforts. The two things is what makes people succeed in everything. So for human efforts are the things that you must be doing yourself all the time. Right? The things, the day-to-day things you have to be doing. Right? So for example, if you are married, there are things you have to do. If you don't do it, forget it. It won't work. If you're a student, there are things that you must be doing as a student. If you don't do it, you will not pass. If it's business, like this morning, you see this place, a very nice place. Someone did it. As a human being, what did this morning? Someone had to come and arrange the place and stuff. So, human efforts. Then the second one is what we call divine efforts. Divine efforts are the things that God has to do. God has to do for you. Right? There is a God component about every person who is truly successful. Anybody who is successful in quotes without God, the person could have succeeded better if there was God. With God, it is always bigger and better. So you meet anybody, you say, oh, this person doesn't even serve God. He doesn't believe in God, but he's succeeding. It means that he's succeeding below his capacity. Right? Below his capacity. Because with God, it's always bigger and better. Right? And that is what I've come to realize. With God, it's always bigger and better. And those who even supposedly do not believe God, they believe some God. They have some, support on some level that you may not know, right? So it always work. The two of them always work, and there is always an active partnership between humans and God. So, for example, I use marriage a lot because marriage is the most practical, real kind of institution in this world. Right? Even the way he sleeps can mess up your night. So you cannot pray your way through marriage and succeed. You see, so a lot of people are praying about things they must be doing. You see, a lot of people are also doing what they must be praying about. There is always this active partnership between God and man to be able to make sure that his will is done. Never forget it anywhere. Right? In Africa, we pray too much, we do too little. In Europe and the rest, they do so much, they pray little, and that is why they are struggling. We are struggling. There are a lot of US problems that cannot be solved on the level of humans, and that is why they are in a mess. A child, a 4-year-old, can call 911 on the parent, and they will come and pick the child. Ghana, whilst you are calling, we are beating you. They come, we will beat you. They go, you will not eat before you sleep. By the time you wake up, eye clear. It will vanish from your eyes. Right? So it is always good. And if you even meet musicians who are very, very good, like him, it doesn't, the rehearsals and stuff, you can't pray your way throughout your music and say that, God will do it. Forget it. You will bend the song. Right? So there is always an active partnership. This restaurant is doing well because of two: human efforts, divine efforts. This morning you had to bath and come. Right? You bath and come. You didn't go and stand under the shower and say that, as I clap my hands and I pray, soup, rub on my body. Forget it. And even in health, right? You can't pray your way through a healthy life when you are not living a healthy life. You would die even if you're a pastor. I know one of my pastor friends, he's not even 40 years, he has a stroke, he has hypertension, diabetes, and kidney failure. All the fuck, now he can't go and preach anywhere. But I remember before that episode, right, I called him, I said, Sofu, slow down, because your BP is all over the place. Give yourself 3 months, rest, take your medications, do this. Sofu wente. The next week, 3 nights this all night. Me say, Sofu ebo we film. Exactly 1 month, they call me has a stroke. Right? And obviously, what will pastor be doing? Praying that God will heal. You see, he has cornered God nicely. And God has to perform. If God doesn't perform, God is, God has, been unfaithful. But God is always faithful. Are you here with me? Right? The key thing about the two is that as for God, he would always do what he has to do. As for God, he would always do it. The problem is the human effort aspect of it. That is the problem. Right? And so, you'd always have to have this in mind that for things to succeed, you need both, and never do anything without both. Otherwise, you will limit how far you can rise. Unfortunately, God won't do what you have to do. You see, you also can't do what he has to do, right? And you have to do what they have to do. So in the marketplace does only one thing, right? To solve problems. The marketplace is to fix problems. That is what the marketplace is. And the problems you fix is the reward you get. The problems you fix is the reward you get. The marketplace is to fix problems. And all marketplaces are on these 4 areas. Every marketplace is under these 4 areas. 1, physical things. So there are a category of marketplace that focuses on dealing with physical needs of people. So for example, this place does a major thing about the physical need of what? Food. It's as simple as that. Some will do clothes. Some will do whatever. They are all physical needs. Then the next one has to do with marketplaces that focuses on the mental health of people. Mental health goes beyond the clinic environment. Is it okay? Has everything to do with how people feel, think, and behave. So a lot of enterprises, what they do actually is mental health. You go to a place where they only play music. It's on mental health. Right? You go sit there, you feel better, you come back. Let's say if you have a facility by the beach, a lot of people go to the beach to feel better. I hope you understand. It's mental health. So there are a lot of enterprises that focuses on a certain experience that creates a certain wellness and well-being for people. Right? And that is also a whole niche in terms of marketplace. Then there is also a marketplace that deals with meeting needs that is social. So physical, mental, and what? Social. Meeting the social needs of people. All churches and NGOs and groups that does things on the level of spiritual, there would always be money involved. It's unfortunate that people think that those places, money shouldn't come up. Let me put my ear down. It's unfortunate. One of the most difficult jobs on earth is, for example, to be a pastor. Very, very difficult. If members don't come, you are begging them to come. If a member doesn't show up at work, you sack them. But in church, you have to smile. Right? And a lot of pastors go through you have no idea. My father was a pastor, and I can tell you. The problem, my father will pay other school fees. People don't talk about those things. Meanwhile, the class fees is not paid because entry fees is not by church. There are a lot of things that pastors, the sacrifice we have to go to, and the transfers and the villages, and that you have no idea. Right? And think about it. Yesterday was Greater Works Anambra. Yes. Think about Reverend Otabo. Since the 80s or so, dedicated his life meeting people's spiritual needs. He deserves a limo. Or drive a limo on your nyimpa. Mercy can go and stand on the field, just kick some small ball, millions of dollars. That one, people are okay with it. But someone who takes care of the spiritual needs of people, we expect the person to be poor. The marketplace, one marketplace is for spiritual things. And so far as people's spiritual needs are met, there will always be a reward. And money is part of the reward. Are you here with me? My first car, I got it through prophecy. I'm a doctor. I believe in those things. My first car. Right? And so, if you give me a car and I dash you $1,000, you gave me a car, I gave you $1,000. It's as simple as that. Right? And so, there's a whole marketplace that focuses more on spiritual things. Right. So I said that marketplace is under 4. Is it okay? Physical, mental, social, and spiritual. And all enterprises can be grouped under one of these things. But the marketplace that is very wise, or businesses that are wise, they try to blend the 4. You see, if you go to any business that is very wise, because the human being is 4-dimensional: physical, mental, social, and spiritual. And people tend to be drawn towards environments that meets the 4. So for example, you go to at this place, for example, you come back. It is not just the food you are coming to eat, but you are coming to an experience. I hope you understand. And that experience is what you will remember when you go, not even the food. Food even becomes an experience. You know, I ordered fufu from this place, you know, I think about a week or so ago. It was nice, right? It was nice. So you'd want to come. It's not just the fufu that entered, but the experience with it. You see, there are some soups you drink and you wonder whether it's soup or is not even stew. It's what a ponchaya has. Right? And so any enterprise that is very wise, they blend. So you go and they are paying attention to how people feel when they come around. They are paying attention to the interaction of whatever. They are paying attention before you realize they are praying somewhere or they are doing something that is also spiritual. Right. So that is what the marketplace is, the 4 areas, right? Okay. To be able to set a standard, one thing just comes to mind. Standards. One thing comes to my mind, and that is excellence. The highest point, all standards converge at a place of excellence. All standards. That is the meeting place for standards, excellence. Right. And when I say excellence, in 2 areas, in quality and quantity. Excellence in quality and quantity. Right. Excellence in quality and quantity. Quality has to do with who you are. Quantity is what you do. Right. Quality. Quality. In terms of who you are, then quantity always does with what you do, right? And there are 3 areas of excellence that you need to focus on: production, promotion, and delivery. Production. To be able to produce something, you need excellence and what? In quality and quantity. Then in what do you call it? Promotion, you need both excellence and quality and quantity. Then also delivery. So how we produce things, there must be some excellence, right? And my eyes speak a lot of things. Anywhere I go, my eyes speak so many things. And if you are into the design world, you realize that your eyes speak details about everything. You'll be shocked that someone paints somewhere, and if there's a flicker of whatever paint, one mix, you can note if your eyes pick things. You can always pick something from somewhere and ideas from a lot of places. So production, there should be some level of excellence. In Africa, there is no excellence at all. At all. Someone does work for you and expects you to accept it like that because it's been produced. One of my friends, is senior to me, ordered for this award plaque somewhere. And the what the person brought, he was expecting the guy to accept what he brought. And reproducing a like how do I even say it's difficult. There are 3 areas that I want to focus on. The first one is staff, the next one is systems, the next one is setup. Staff, systems, and setup. Staff, systems, and setup. When it comes to staff, I will suggest these 4 things to do for staff to be able to ensure standards. The first one is their personal development. You need to intentionally train and insist on training and upgrade for your staff. Intentional. Because they can do as far as they know. You need to intentional. It should be an intentional kind of thing, training. You don't leave it by default. And CVs do not guarantee performance. It's the current state. Because CVs look at the past. But the person's past may not be reflecting now. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So you need to ensure that emotional intelligence, emotional quotient, emotional intelligence. How does the person feel about things and how do they respond to other people's feelings in a way that ensures they make their progress? So there are some people with IQ, but EQ is very, very poor. And now if you look at businesses, EQ seem to be the most important. Intelligence, your emotional quotient, emotional intelligence. How you are able to recognize your own emotions, recognize the emotions of others, and be able to have a certain relationship or interaction that is productive. There are some people, they have head knowledge but no heart knowledge. You see? So they are intelligent. Yeah, they are when you're correct. And it starts from childhood. How the parents are raising that child to be emotionally sensitive and available for others. It starts from there, right? One statement from a staff can mess up your whole, enterprise. Like this lady, for example, you spoke about, that you had to now go and find out and realize that it was the other person's fault. What if it was the lady's fault? Problems. I was setting up a certain facility in Cape Coast around 2016. I went to a certain man, Kama Conference Center, Papano. When I got there, I said, I need counsel. What should I do? He said that your biggest problem in your enterprise will be with your staff. That was the only thing he told me, and I left. Biggest problem. They say, especially the people you are merciful to at the staff, at the workplace, they are the ones who mess you up. They are the ones who mess you up. So when it comes to business, it's business. No feelings about, no, I'm saying emotional intelligence, but with that you must be even intelligence in how you even apply that. Because there are people who don't care about the business, and they are there because of situation or be fixing the situation. No, I would job business, but that's not why they are there. There may be some financial situation you should go and make some few money and go away. People like that, they are not driven by, when a worker is there, and part of being under you is also fulfilling his dreams in life. The attitude is different. So they are there because where they are is part of the vision. Even if that is not the final destination, it is part of their growth. Those people, they do extra because they are there with a purpose. They are there to build themselves. They are there to build themselves. They are there to make sure that things progress because it's part of their journey. But there are a lot of people in various workplaces. They are there because of problems. So they are as nice as you can fix their problems. And people like that, they move easily. Something small, no, they are finding a reason to move away. Something small, no, they won't go extra mile. They won't. It's like you are begging them to come and that kind of thing, right? So stuff in terms of personal, and I said SQ is social intelligence, right? Social intelligence in terms of a person's social interactions here and there, and those things are key. Then another SQ is a spiritual intelligence. It's very, very important. A staff spiritual state can mess up your own environment. I'm telling you, there are some people. There are some workplaces that are not moving on because of the spiritual situation of that particular person. Whatever you do, we are spiritual beings. It's as simple as that. We are spiritual beings, right? And a lot of things happen around. So personal development is so important. Make sure that all your programs and continuous professional development programs, you touch on all the 4 areas for your staff. That means that every week there should be something to develop your staff. Every week. Every week. It should be part of the thing. That every week I am talking to my staff about something. And don't leave it to default. There are some heads of institutions, they've left personal growth to the staff. Such that, the effort is dependent on the staff. So every week, for example, you own a shop for graphic design. Make sure that every week there is some continuous professional development for your staff, so that we know that all of us are developing and we are all on the same page. Then the next thing is accountability for staff. I'm talking about staff accountability, right? Make sure that every staff is accountable based on their own responsibilities and the values and the core whatever of the environment. We can't leave staff to do what they like. They can't show up anytime they like. They can't smile the way they like. We should teach them how to smile, because when you be an even so accountability. And we have to have systems to check accountability. Then the next one is appreciation for staff. If a staff feels appreciated, they may do more, right? But it's not every staff who even value appreciation. So you can appreciate them all you like, but still they will do what they like. And they are the ones who go and say negative things. I remember I was running a clinic in Cape Coast, and one of them said, Dr. Tabra, tell you staff your Bible can say more. Like if they even go and say the truth, it's true. But when they go and lie and say, sometimes At work now, sometimes people discuss things and I know they are talking about. I want, is that me they are talking about? Like, I'm even shocked about myself that this is how I am. Because tomorrow I don't know. And it's all stuff. But appreciate people, and we do a lot of appreciation through conditions of service. You know, the salaries and the bonuses and stuff like that actually helps. So you need to appreciate your staff for what they do. Then the last one is the health of the staff. A healthy staff is able to be productive, especially their mental well-being. Most of the performance issues is on the level of mental health, how people feel about things and their mental state. Right? In mental health, there are two words we use: presenteeism and absenteeism. Absenteeism means that one bejuma. Presenteeism means that he's there but he's not there. He came to work but he's not around. And most of the time is the stresses and the problems of life. You know, so obviously if you are having marital problems and you are at the reception, you can't smile plenty. That one we fought before we came to work. You can't smile plenty because you are really not healthy. So the health of the staff is so important. So these 4 areas I think for me is important when it comes to staff. Then the next one I said is systems. Right? Systems in terms of leadership, strategy, and monitoring and evaluation. You need some level of leadership. And leadership, there must be clear cut, you know, whatever. In terms of leadership, strategy, how do we achieve our goals? Then how do we also review what we are doing to improve all the time? There should be some regular, you know, about monitoring and evaluating whatever is happening. And even monitoring and evaluation, customer feedback is so important. Right? The feedback you get from your staff and customers, very, very important. So leadership is so important. Very important. Then the last one I want to share now and has to do with the setup. Right, the setup. I talked about staff, system, and setup. A setup means that all the things that you have put in place to be able to make sure you carry out your goals. Aesthetics is so important when it comes to setup, and maintenance culture. Those two things. Aesthetics. We are very visual in nature. Even God acknowledged it. That as for me, I can look through your eyes and see your heart. But for us as human beings, we can't see your heart. And we will look at what we look at, or what you show us. If whatever I'm wearing, you don't whatever, remove your eyes. We will not remove our eyes. We will look. Right? So don't say, as for us there, it's in our heart. No. What are you showing us? That is what we are seeing. And we are so visual. This morning, when I came here, my eyes have picked everything. And it's not my fault. You know, we are very, very visual. Very, very visual. See, and that's why you have to even dress well and do those things, because we can see everything. And aesthetics must even appeal to the people who are around. Right? The culture of the people. So some of your aesthetics shouldn't be too foreign to the people you are serving. When it's too foreign, they can't appreciate it. I've realized that the songs that is local, like there are some songs the local. You understand? Because we all relate with what we can relate with, and sometimes we borrow so much of the foreigners such that we lose the people we want to serve. Because people can appreciate what they can. You can't build a palace very, very nice, but in a village setting where everybody appreciates a certain thing. Aesthetics is very important, and the culture of the people is so important. There's this NGO who went to the north to build a toilet facility for the village. Unfortunately, they didn't consult the chiefs and staff of the village as to how to do it. And you know, it's a dominant, Muslim community, and I heard Muslims when I pray, they face a certain. And who is a Muslim here? You face where? You face east. So when they were building the toilet facility, and when they go poo, their bottles faces east. So the people didn't go and use it because it's an insult to them. That is what they. After 1 year, they came back. That facility ultramodern won't go. Why? Because the position was just wrong. Right? Aesthetics is so important. So make sure they are wiping. Make sure you are cleaning. Make sure you are arranging. And with that, you can go and borrow. Sometimes you even take a trip somewhere, go and borrow ideas. Sometimes you have to Google, look at various interior design, look at this and that. so that everything that people come to experience, it's a very, very good experience. I went to a certain workplace in one of the top brands, they are called whatever. I went to give a talk on mental health. When I entered the place, they set up a room, and they even have a small corner where they have a kitchenette, and it's so nice. And you can have some tea be in a coffee be in a fruit be nice. Into workers, they work small. When you are tired, you come and hey, why wouldn't you go to work? But if you are working at Mammobi Polyclinic, the environment alone will throw you away.